Hello, everybody. Give me just a second. I'm still setting up. All right, Dad, I'm closing the door. Miley just left and went to the bedroom, I think. Uh, mm. Oh, boo hoo. Who's the one running the show? Anyway, hope you guys don't mind. I grabbed myself a little bit of a snack before starting because I haven't had a chance to eat since I got home. Yeah, I went grocery shopping to two different stores, and then when I got home, I'm sorry. Well, I was just wildly guessing if you had a cabinet. Oh, maybe you have a cookie jar or a bag of cookies somewhere. Anyway, yeah, I haven't had a chance to eat, so I've been busy most of the morning and afternoon. So this is the first time I actually got a chance to sit down and do any kind of eating. So a couple of microwave burritos, or actually chimichangas, but Deadpool's favorite. Anyway, what do we got on there? We got two watchers on here. Okay, I can live with that. Uh, well, first off, what I was going to talk about was well, if you've seen the last video I did, yeah, my computer had complete. What ended up happening was there's a program in the PC or in my laptop called a OneDrive, and you know, I know how you feel. My mom when she was alive was diabetic. She was diabetic since she was 13. So yeah, I was surprised I was even born. Uh, anyway, yeah. So the whole fiasco was I was cleaning out a lot of the excess crap that was in my computer because it's taking up space that I could use for something else. And what ended up happening was I accidentally erased that. I dumped it in the trash and got rid of it. Well, in the add remove program. And I didn't realize I did that. I thought I got the program that was just underneath, which was something else entirely different, and I thought I got rid of that one. So I look at my screen and everything is gone. It's just the only thing that was on it still was the clock and the calendar at the bottom corner. And that was it. Actually, I completely removed that from my computer because idle games just don't thrill me. I'm sorry. Initially when I was playing it was fun and all, but after a while it was just if I'm not really doing anything that's having any effect on the game, I'm not. It's not my cup of tea. But anyway, so I go and I spent the entire evening getting everything back on track. And the only casualty was Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. That was it. That was the only casualty. So I got to start that game over again, and we're down to one person again. Oh well, maybe I'm not. I know I'm not a cute girl smiling in a cosplay costume. You don't have to remind me, JP. Oh, I guess I could do it like that, but I don't do these talking shops very often. I like to do them often, but it's like you see here, it's like people pop in and out constantly. So well, let's see here. Steam. I can at least download it while I'm talking. So I spent the entire evening just fixing my computer, getting it back to where most of it was. I removed a few games I hadn't been playing in a while. So what I got on my roster right now, well, nothing at the moment yet. I got everything back to normal on my computer. Um, but starting next month, we're going to have Baldur's Gate continuing. Well, restarting next month. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. Um, um, well, which one was that one that I was playing on that one? Because it just says Forgotten Realms 1, so Volume 1. Oh, yeah, that was Eye of the Beholder. I'll get back to that one. That one was fine. The saves on that were fine. Pool of Radiance, still have the save on that one. Um, and Dungeon Hack, I'll be getting back to soon. Dungeon Hack, I'm going to be playing, as a filler for when I'm tired of doing all the other games. But I'll get back to it, like every other week or so. Get back to Knights of the Chalice. I haven't checked Knights of the Chalice, so I don't know if I actually saved that one. Of course, we just started in on that one, so it's not like I'm going to get very upset at the fact that I lost months of work on it, like I am with Baldur's Gate. But then we're also getting into Wasteland Remastered, that was the one that won the vote. And here, why are you still? Is that what a mirror's for? Hello, why hasn't Steam started up? Oh, my phone's just now. That's a new one. When did Steam start doing that? And install. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see any game footage, but you'll probably hear the sound, the music, and the sound. I'm not sure how to switch it over so you guys can see it on this format. If we were playing, like, say, on Twitch, I could probably figure it out in a matter of seconds, but yeah, on YouTube, that's a different story. Because last time I tried to play a game on YouTube, it was so choppy and messy, it was barely watchable. Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about Dungeon. I didn't know what game you were talking about because I just said a whole slew of them. So I was like, "What mirror are you talking about? What game? Which game are you on?" And it's like you're talking about Dungeon Act. Okay, thank you. Now I know what the mirror is for. But anyway, uh, so you know, but game wise, yeah, okay, I'll have idle on here when I play when I'm doing like a stream like this. Wow. All right. Oh, I did. Okay. And oh yeah, and let's see, retro arc. I had now it may not be for very long that I play it because it's I played it a couple times just to test it out, and I really haven't gotten that far in it. And that is Hero Quest for the prototype NES. I looked it up, and apparently the only other version is MS DOS and Amiga, and I can't find a copy of those versions anywhere that's playable on my computer. So I'm going with the NES prototype, and yeah, there's a lot of grammar errors and spelling errors, and I played all four versions, and apparently when they put the Barbarian in, they gave him. This is the oddest thing. Is upstairs in the king's chambers. Okay, thank you for that. Um, but yeah, I was playing Heroes Quest off camera because I was trying to familiarize myself with the controls because it's very interesting controls. Because it's playing like it's a mouse game, like you're using a mouse, but you're using a controller, which is really weird. I mean, it's weird enough when you're doing that on, say, like Shadowrun. This one's worse. Okay, but and so I'm playing Hero Quest, and I tried all four characters, and you can play up to two characters for a single player game. And the one thing I noticed about that game is apparently the barbarian, in comparison to the elf and the dwarf, one hit point. Apparently, he only has one hit point, or because the other two characters, and they don't even give you any equipment. That's the thing that really baffled me. You're not given any kind of equipment. You have no weapons or armor on you. But the barbarian has next to no chance of surviving his first fight. And then you got but the other ones have a better chance at it because they can evade easier. It's weird. I've never seen any kind of game like that. Like I said, this was the prototype, so maybe they hadn't gotten it all figured out yet when someone decided to put this on the emulator. Okay, we're gonna come back to this and write this all down. That's what I love about old RPGs. If you didn't have a walkthrough or knew someone that already played the game, you were screwed. You had no idea what to do half the time. I think the only reason I got as far on Wizardry Gold as I did is because it came with a walkthrough in the game. Hmm. So yeah, I'm gonna play Heroes Quest and see how far I can get. If I can't get very far, I'm not going to continue on it. I just wanted to try it out and show you guys what and give my opinions on it. I'm going to continue playing Dragon Stomper until I actually beat it. So you're probably going to see me doing a lot of repetitive stuff and videos for Dragon Stomper. Sorry for talking and chewing at the same time. So I got Dragon Stomper on here. And that's not going to be a frequent thing. It's like periodically I'll come back to it and give it a shot again. Order of the Griffin. I need to get to Order of the Griffin more frequently because I know I've only done like 2 or 3 videos in over a couple of months. I need to, get back to it more often. And And I'm still working out when I'm going to start playing Warriors of the Eternal Sun, which was the Genesis exclusive Dungeons and Dragons game. Which I recently found out it does take place in Mysteria, but it takes place in the Hollow Earth setting, which is inside the planet. That I didn't know, and apparently there's a huge background on it and setup for everything. So I did some looking up on it, and I'll do a video on that some other time about what I learned. And of course, I'm going to get back to Shadowrun. I need to play Shadowrun more often, just as well, because I've actually gotten to a good point on it where it's like I really don't want to start over on it. So I'll get back to Shadowrun for the NES here soon, and hopefully I'll get to the follow-up games as well on that one, because Shadowrun's a really fun setting. That was actually the setting I started off with. Wow, I got four viewers right now. Hi everybody. Just talking about what games I'm planning to be continuing and starting up next month. Like I said, here, let me get out of here real quick. Okay, so then I'll start focusing on other stuff then. Again, for everybody that just started, I'm apologizing right now. I'm still eating my late lunch. I haven't had anything to eat since 7 o'clock this morning, and it's about 5:18 right now. So I'm eating microwave burritos while I'm talking to you guys, having a little bit of oh, Idle Champions just finished loading. For a small game, that has a lot of loading in it. But so yeah, I'm going to be starting with Baldur's Gate. I'm going to have to start a completely new game, unfortunately, because that one was the one that I lost out on when my computer took a dump when I accidentally removed my OneDrive program. So that took a dump. So once I got everything back and going, and I got all the programs I wanted on here back on, Baldur's Gate is going to be the one I'm going to start up again. That's probably going to be maybe this Sunday. I'll have a new video up for it. I don't know if I'm going to continue doing live streams for it because it's been acting weird when I do live streams. I don't know why. Yeah, the live stream thing when I go on Twitch, live streams are very finicky with me for some reason. I do believe it has a lot to do with my hard drive, because I have like 3 or 4 programs running at once when I'm doing one stream. So yeah, it's going to be Baldur's Gate. We're going to start in on Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2 soon. That's Dark Alliance 2 soon. Because I almost felt like I said too soon. And all the other games I've been playing up to this point, I'm going to continue on. Hero Quest, like I said, that's just a side project a little bit, just experimentation, because it is a prototype game. It's not a complete game. So, and like I pointed out, some of the characters weren't built properly, like the barbarian dies from one hit. And while you have the dwarf and the elf pretty much withstanding a few battles before they finally croak. And if you're wondering what he's talking about in the comments in the chat, he's talking about Wizardry 7. He's been helping me out with the game in the comments a lot of the time. So he's giving me a whole bunch of information. I'm probably going to be writing all this stuff down later. And then, oh yeah. So we're going to be starting with Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. I'm probably going to do that as a on the very first of July. Pool of Radiance, Eye of the Beholder, and I think Wizardry 6, and they were somehow I was able to save all the saves. Wizardry 6. Did I say 7? I meant 6. I I'm so used to saying Wizardry 7 because that's my favorite game out of the series. Because well, that's the one I emulated years ago. I actually got to play Wizardry 8 for, I'd say, oh God, how long? It just came out at the time, but I got a bad copy, and it actually destroyed my computer that I had at the time. I don't know what it did, but yeah, it destroyed my computer. But I actually experimented a little bit with Wizardry 8 just to see how it tested out when I got it off of Steam, and so far it looks like it's running fine. So maybe we'll see a live stream of it, or we'll see some actual gameplay. Swap the bard and priest, sell the sling and stones, use the loot, spells, and hiding. Yeah, I was thinking about getting rid of the loot, or not the loot, but the sling anyway, because he really doesn't do that much with it. Well, when I played Wizardry 7, I'm changing the subject now because I've talked about the situation for almost 20 minutes now. It's probably time I get on to something else. But yeah, the whole idea is that if there's games where it's like you can take your characters and transfer them to follow up games, I'm playing them in order, so I can do that exact thing. Pool of Radiance, the gold box games, a lot of games you can do that with. What I think is funny about Pool of Radiance is a lot of people just go Pool of Radiance. Let me look at the titles here, just so I can get my bearings on it. Yeah, everybody goes with Pool of Radiance, Curse of the Azure Bonds, Secret of the Silver Blades, and Pools of Darkness. 4 games, that's it. What most people don't get, and that's because NES screwed it up for everybody. Hillsfar is actually part of the series, albeit it's a what you would call a major sidetrack from the main series. Because instead of doing the party, you do individual characters. And yeah, it actually is supposed to fit somewhere between Pool of Radiance and Curse of the Azure Bonds. Which, oh, that sucks. Yeah, you moved into which time, but by the time Wizardry, I know it was. I got Wizardry Gold. It wasn't Wizardry 7. It was Wizardry Gold. And I made it pretty far in the game. I didn't actually complete it because, unfortunately, I ended up moving and I lost my copy. But after I moved, I ended up getting the archives, which had the first 7 games plus gold on it. So I started in on that. Then I made the mistake of moving in with a girlfriend, and lost a lot of my stuff because her I got kicked out because she decided to be with somebody else. Yeah, I think I got that. What was it? 90. I believe it was 96 when I got Wizardry Gold. I think it was just out at that time. I just remember I bought another game. I don't even remember what it was. Bought another game and I couldn't get it to work on my computer. So I took it back and I said, I can't get this game to work. And so they tried it out on their the game store. They tried it out on their computer. Yeah, they couldn't get it to work either. So they said, well, pick out a different, if you want to get a different game, go ahead because we got no more copies of this one. So I said, okay, and I saw Wizardry Gold on gold on the stand, and it was the same price. And I said, I'll take that one. They said, okay, and they did a switch over everything. I took that home, and I'll tell you one thing. Up to that point, I was maybe 21 at the time. I had not played. Yeah, I was 20. So I had not played Dungeons and Dragons yet with any of my friends. I had Dungeons and Dragons stuff. It was AD&D stuff. But to tell you the truth, I had no idea what I was doing with any of it because I'd never played it. I just had this D&D stuff and had no clue what to do with it. So well, it was about 26 years ago for me. Excuse me, 28. Well, what I liked about Wizardry is the fact that, especially the trilogy, it actually felt like D&D to me, or how I thought D&D should would be, since I had never actually played it myself. And I think I finally ended up. It was about 2 3 years later. I finally got a PlayStation. PlayStation was about a year away from bringing in the PlayStation 2, but they hadn't announced it yet. And I started playing the Final Fantasy games, which, by the way, I'm not going to play any of them on my channel. For this particular channel, I might start up another channel at some point. I don't know. It may or may never happen. But I'm not going to play any JRPGs on this channel. I might make exceptions for one or two games because they started off as American, but then were switched out, but then were bought by a Japanese company. Like, say, the more recent Wizardry games. I haven't played Wizardry in a while. And the reason is I can't get it to play properly right now. It keeps freezing it. It has a lot to do with my computer right now. I don't know what the deal is with my computer. I have to take it in, but I just don't have the money to do that right now. Hey, that's not very nice. Okay, yeah, I suck at computers. You don't have to rub it in. This is also like a 4-year-old computer, so it's yeah, I actually have a few videos up right now. I haven't gotten very far in it because um, what was it? The orc battle at the very beginning that wiped out my characters quite a bit. And by the way, that was probably the best setup for a D&D kind of game I've ever seen without being a D&D game. And if you're wondering why I'm blinking while I got the ceiling fan on, it's blowing the wind right into my eyes right here. Um, Also, Heroes Quest is, I think, pretty good, but unfortunately, the prototype version that they have on for a ROM firmware emulator, since it is a prototype, there's a lot of I mentioned it earlier, grammatical errors and stuff like that in it, and I think I already mentioned it probably a couple times already by this point, but the barbarian dies immediately, and but yeah, so I ended up using. I think I even have it on video a couple times. Oh, someone left. Oh, well, that breaks my heart. I thought I was doing well. I was hoping it was going to go up to 5, maybe. Run out of way when I take a break. But oh, you phrased it as a question, so it didn't hurt my feelings. I'm not worried about it. I have there's times where I'm very good at computers, and there's other times where I'm just sitting there, scratching my head, going like, "What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" You know, run. If I had the room, I could actually do an impression of me when I'm trying to figure out what problem on a computer. I'm running back and forth, but back and forth, going, "What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" No, no, I don't actually do that. But I'm thinking that. Uh, but yeah, I played. You're gonna find this funny. Excuse me. I'm still shooting out bits and pieces of burrito chimichanga out of my mouth. That's not very fine. But um, Pool of Radiance. And JP can vouch for this because he's seen the original videos before I got rid of them. I think I went through the same amount of gameplay 6 or 7 different times and never made it past a certain point. And it's always the same exact spot. And that's when you get to the trolls, and I think it's trolls, ogres, and a couple of ogres. For some reason, I just can't get past that point. And I know there's stuff I'm missing half the time, and JP points them out to me. And then when I try those very things he suggests, I just can't get it to work. That's operator error right there. That is operator error. I know I'm screwing up because I can't figure out how to do what he's telling me what to do on the game. I mean, he'll have to come over here, grab me by the back of the head, and just start slamming me on the table, going, "Do you get it yet? Do you get it yet?" Oh, definitely. Pretty much any game where trolls are involved, I'm usually like, "Oh God, I'm screwed." JP's got it right. Trolls are the scourge of my existence. But yes, I thought it initially was at the beginning of the game, on the road. And it turned out they weren't trolls at all. I thought they were trolls because of the way they were, manhandling my characters. But no, they weren't trolls. They were something else entirely. I think they were, yeah, Ogrelons, I think is what they were called. Which, yeah, Baldur's Gate has some really weird named monster types in there, which is like, I don't, and I've went through fourth edition and fifth edition, and don't recall them. So definitely third edition monsters. Yeah. Oh yeah, the trolls in Dungeon Hack too. Although I've been getting better at getting rid of those guys. So yeah, I got to start over on Baldur's Gate. Fortunately, um, with Baldur's Gate, it wasn't the fact that I was having a hard time with the game. I was actually having a lot of fun with it, and it was just the fact that I kept sticking to the side quests because I wanted to get as much out of the game as I could. before continuing on to the main story. And every time I turn around, I get another quest. I'm like, oh, come on, really? I go, I thought I was all done with these side quests. You had two more to it. Or if I'm in the middle of a quest, they throw another quest at me. And of course, I'm not going to say no. But the only part that I find kind of hindering in the game is they put too many character specific quests. Like you have to have a specific character with you in order to do the quest. And I think I've run into that 3 or 4 times where it's like, I like the party that I got with me at that time, but then you go and go, oh, okay, well, you have to have this particular character. I'm going, but I like the characters I got. Why can't I just go with this group and have this person tag along, like say in a D&D session? But I don't think they did that. Thought about that time. Sorry if the screen keeps bouncing. I'm on a round table with one leg on it, and I just bump the floor, and it causes the table to wobble. Oh, good. Okay. Knowing that there is no timer, yeah, I'll just take my time with it this time. Yeah, I'm going to have to start over, like I said, because out of most of the games, that was the one that I lost all the memory on. And believe me, I am pissed about that because I liked where I was going with the game as it was. Wibble wobble, so we don't fall down. Yeah. No, I will never sing that to a child. It was traumatizing enough for me. Why would I want to put another child through that? But yeah. Also, the other thing I wanted to get at was if you saw earlier this week, I threw up a video. Well, not threw up, but put up a video of the campaign setting called Broken Earth, which I somewhat put together for my friends. This was actually just a private game setting for me and my buddies for the last 5-6 years when we were actually sitting down for D&D. I think we went through about 2 campaigns on that setting alone. And but I'm going to be talking just to give you an idea of what I was going to be going talking through about the campaign. Next video, I'm going to be talking about a lot of the like kind of the origins of the world itself and the background of some of this stuff. But then I'm going to talk about which there was, I think, at least how many? Excuse me. How many times? Well, there were 3 players that stuck through from the beginning. They started their PC. Started their player characters, and we're down to 2 viewers now. I must be really boring. So there would be three player characters that stuck through the game. Through the first campaign from beginning to end. We had, and we initially started, I think, with 4 or 5. I gotta look it up, but yeah, we had literally 4 or 5, and 2 of them dropped out. A little while in, a couple other players joined in, and along with a couple of, I think like 4 or 5 of them, and 2 or 3 of them dropped out. So I think we only had about at the end it was 6. We started with 6, we ended with 4. Dad's yelling at the news. Well, the setting in question, I kind of mentioned it a little bit, but I don't think I explained it very well. I'm a huge fan of what was it? Thunder the Barbarian and the movie Wizards. It happens. But I was a huge fan. I was a huge fan of that of Thunder the Barbarian when I was a little kid, and I'd say when it was on Cartoon Network at late nights on Saturdays, I was recording them so I can continue watch, so I could watch them later on because I worked. I worked at a my very first job. I was working at a pretzel shop, making bread pretzels at the mall just a few blocks from where I'm living now. Of course, that mall is all but a ghost town now. Uh, but we would I would watch the shows because almost reverently I would watch them. Right now, it looks like I got a couple people interested in making me a supervisor, which means I'm not going to be actually doing security work. I'll be checking up on other security guards and seeing how they're doing, like making sure they're doing their job, kind of thing. Which I kind of was doing. I was getting ready to start do anyway with this job before the previous job before I was dropped out. Oh yeah, bigger paycheck, and I don't have to pay for the gas. But still in question mode right now because I got about I started back in what 2018, so that gives me what about 7 to 8 years of experience. So it's not like I'm just starting out fresh as a security guard. I got a few years experience. But oh, and speaking of security guard, did you guys enjoy the videos where I talked about me being, my security jobs back in the day? I was 9 years old. I'm a bicentennial baby. I was born in 1976. Uh, the guy that I call, I would never do that. Wear your age like a badge of pride, my friend. Okay, Phaedrus Live. Since we're talking about age here, I'm going to actually say I'm 48 years old. Uh, JP doesn't have to tell you, but I'm just curious. You don't have to say either. I'm curious, what is the age range here right now? I want to make sure there's no little ones around because I do get a little raunchy on occasion. So I'm 48 years old. I born and raised in this town, but you're 35. Okay, you're not too young. Older than a mountain, younger than a dirt. Um, well, when I don't know it. When I was married, I'm actually divorced. 43. New romancer. Void. Someone knows William Gibson. That's some of my early reads right there. 58. So you're 10 years older than me. I just wanted to make sure there was no kids in the crowd today because I'm always a little uncomfortable when there's little ones involved, and I mean little ones as in anyone under the age of 21. Um, because I do and say things, and a lot of times I don't want them to get misconstrued as something else. This that is true. Kids at heart, that's a different story altogether. But yeah, oh, and I'm gonna mention this even though I never actually watched the guy. Has anybody seen the crap that's been going on with what was his name? Something disrespect, Mr. Disrespect or whatever it is. That fiasco going on with him. Yeah. Like I said, I never actually watched any of his shows. It's like if I'm like watching a Rage video, compilation or something, he'll pop up. Doctor Disrespect, I think is what his name is. Yeah, but yeah, and then they're saying like, oh yeah, he said something in a private chat with someone that turned out to be underage, and I'm just sitting there going like, I'm the same way. I don't. I believe it was on Twitch, but yeah. The only reason I even knew this guy's existence is that I didn't know who he was until recently. I would periodically see this guy, and he had like the really terrible, bought it at a Halloween shop mustache and a really ugly wig and a pair of sunglasses. Yeah, like I said, it was like everybody's talking about what he said or did, and that all the the company he started let him go, and Twitch kicked him out, and he supposedly he admitted to it, but like I said, it's supposedly so. But because of okay, okay, but to get things straight, I'm always careful when it comes to who I interact with in the on the internet because I almost got uh, um, where you go bamboozled by somebody claiming to be a different age and stuff like that, hitting on me and all that, and I'm just sitting there going like, basically telling me all the things I want to hear. So next thing I know, I'm being blackmailed by someone claiming to be this girl that I sent you a picture of and you drooled over or whatever is actually I'm not a real person, but I'm going to tell everybody about this naughty thing you thought about this one person. I'm going to so like, and of course, but here's my thinking though. I'm going like, you know what? I don't care. Tell everybody that I drooled over a sexy girl that I didn't know the age of because this person looked like they had surgeries. I didn't actually drool, but yeah, this person was like basically going, "Ha, I'm going to blackmail you," and I'm going like, "Good luck with that. I don't have anything to take." Mm. But yeah, that was before I even started the YouTube channel. I was like, and then I basically cut off all internet for like a year or two because that was like. So now anytime I go on like say um, Instagram or Facebook, you know, I am really cautious with people now because it's like I don't want people trying to blackmail me or try to incite something that's not really there for their own personal enjoyment of my misery. Actually, I don't even think that was even what had happened, but yeah, it was like they were threatening to send uh, uh, yeah, they even got into my computer and told had pictures of me. I had private pictures on my computer, and it was for my wife at the time, but I hadn't removed them from my computer yet. So that was those were private. Those were private between me and one other person, which was my wife at the time, and they're going to try to blackmail me with that, saying that I sent those to little kids, and I'm going like those pictures are like 3, 4 years old, and those were for someone particular. You weren't that person. What are you doing sneaking around through my computer? But I haven't heard or seen or heard from that person ever since, and I think they were just trying to scare me into giving them money, which I think they were talking like what $50,000 for me. I could barely keep $500 in my pocket at a time these days. Okay, enough about my miseries. Um, so I was talking about the campaign settings, wasn't I? Yeah, they were fishing for stuff, trying to blackmail me, and yeah, I did have nudes on my computer of myself, and they were for someone else that I was familiar with. I knew them. You know, I mean, and you're gonna pull that on me, and I'm like sitting there. Anyway, uh, oh, we've actually gone 50 minutes, and I've actually been able to keep a steady amount of people on here. I'm actually shocked. Uh, just to let you guys know, last few times I've tried these kind of not Twitches, but these kind of YouTube streams where I, do talking shop, as I call it. Um, Usually, the only person that shows up is JP or one other person, if I'm lucky. Um, so actually having four people on here right now is it's actually making me tear up. I'm so happy right now. That's a number over two. Okay, I'm going to ask that question. Please tell me that the four people, not include, but the three other people other than JP are not sticking around because I mentioned I had nude pictures of myself. Because right now I'm going to tell you they no longer exist. Okay, so we're going to watch the numbers of the people, and I'm going to wait about 60 seconds, and if the number drops, I know exactly why you left. Oh, okay. Um, I mentioned it a little bit. Oh yeah, you're gonna have to remove the retinas. Just just pluck them right out. You because the HeroQuest. Yeah, I actually came across the HeroQuest, an emulator of the NES prototype. It's not the complete game, to my understanding. Um, or Dull Spoon. I would highly recommend the Dull Spoon. Uh, but to clarify with the HeroQuest thing, I might not play it as a regular thing on my channel because it is an incomplete game, and I might not go far on it. And it's mainly because it's an extremely tough game and extremely unbalanced. For instance, the barbarian dies in one hit, yet the dwarf and the elf last a little while longer. So apparently there's a problem there. I haven't played as the wizard yet, so I have no idea how the wizard works out. There's also the fact that you're given no money at the beginning and you have no equipment on your person. Yeah. But yeah, there you have no access to any equipment for the first quest. And I've actually played it off camera a couple of times just to figure out the controls, and that's when I found out that yeah, a lot of the stuff on there is kind of messed up. But I will be playing it for a little while longer. But Other than Hero Quest, please watch my other videos because I do have a lot of content that you can possibly enjoy. I don't play any of the tabletop stuff because you got Critical Role and a bunch of other groups that do that already. You know, they have friends, I don't. All my friends skip town first chance they got. Oh, I know, right? Hey, we reached number 5. Hello, number 5. But yeah, it's very off balance. But I will continue playing it just to see how far I can get. I used to have the one. What was it? Second edition. I did have second edition, but when I was homeless for a few months, so I had to sell a lot of my stuff just to stay alive. And it was myself. Oh, they left, but it was myself, my wife at the time, and her 3 daughters, my 3 stepdaughters. But I never called them step in public or in private. They were my daughters, and I still call them that to this day. But I did have Shadowrun second edition. Played it twice, and I can tell you up front right now, never have a I can't remember what they called them, a decker. Never have a decker in your group. If you're gonna have a decker in the group, make sure it's a PC. Oh, yeah, that's probably it. They didn't like being called number 5. I should have called him Johnny 5. Maybe that would have made him feel better. But yeah, I bought this because I don't know what edition it is. They call it the Six World Beginner Box, but I just wanted to see what was in it because I hadn't played any of it for a while. I did used to have AD&D stuff and third edition stuff, but like I said, when I got homeless, I had to get in. I ended up getting rid of comic books, a lot of my books, a lot of my stuff. Yeah, word got around. I mentioned having nudes of myself, but but now that they no longer exist, now people are disappointed. You don't want to see my ugly ass in the nude. I don't even like seeing my ugly ass in the nude. But just to point out why I don't like the look of my own body, you can't see it, but my butt sticks out, and my back has a is inverted. Most people's back goes out like like curves out this way. Mine goes in like this, so it gives me a pregnant belly. And I've been self conscious of that since I noticed it. And I was very little when I did. So yeah, my back does this. So it sticks my butt out, a few more inches, and it sticks my gut out more. I'm not really fat. It's just my spine shoves it out that. It shoves it out that way. I can do all the exercises I want. It's never gonna get rid of this. But yeah, if you think I'm sitting here and I'm looking like I'm fat, no, it's because my back is up against the chair right here and it pushes my stomach out. So I'm actually not fat at all. It's just the way my body's built. I actually just used to do weightlifting when I was in high school and college. So as you can see, it kind of went down after a while, but I still got the meat. If I go back into it, I'll probably look better. But yeah, most of it's pretty much gone now. Oh, I was going to talk about road trips. I'm not doing them right now, but like after I get up like a year or two of work in. Oh, that's nasty. That's something my dad would say. But yeah, give me just a second so I could pop that up. Shares, no, that's not it. Oh, okay. Two girls, one. No, 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 no. Um, I think the one time, a girl hit on me and I was like to the point where I can't get this woman away from me fast enough. It was at I used to go to punk rock shows in a local lodge around the corner from here. Yeah, a lot of the places I used to go to are just right around the corner from my grandmother's house. This is my grandmother's house where I live. She passed away a few years ago, and gave the house to me. And Dad moved in about a year later because he can't take care of himself anymore. So let's see here, documents. Oh, don't tell me that's another one of the things I'd have lost. Well, I did kind of mention it in a video, but there's been a few. I've been thinking about taking some road trips. Originally, it was going to be one big road trip, but then when I realized it had a lot to do with scheduling as in when these other, these different places are open or when they're, running certain events. Um, the gaps in between them were too much, like months apart, kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and do the trip up to Oregon, which is going to be Trees of Mystery, the Enchanted Forest, and if they're doing anything at the time, there's a Shakespearean festival in Salem, Oregon, near Salem, Oregon, somewhere around there. I no Ashburn. Ashburn. I might be getting my towns mixed up because a different one. But anyway, um, they have like this one. They have outdoor theaters and stuff like that where they do Shakespearean plays and stuff like that. And I wanted to check that out. Although, from what I understand, they've modernized pretty much everything. So I might be disappointed going to that, but I was going to check it out anyway because it was something my dad did when he was in his 20s and late teens, and grandma tricked him into going over there to check him out. So I might do that myself, just to check it out because I like that kind of stuff. And then go to Ever or not Nevermore, the Enchanted Forest, which I never knew existed. I never even heard of it, but it's been around since like the mid 1970s up in Oregon. It's basically uh, yeah, my grandmother tricked him into going because he doesn't care for that kind of stuff. um, I'm not going to drag him to that kind of, he knows that I'm into that kind of stuff myself, so he was the one that mentioned it to me. Oh, definitely. Um, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Romeo and Juliet though. Unfortunately, I can't because he can't. He has to visit his doctor regularly, so I can't get him that far from out of Fresno. Fresno, by the way, is Fresno, California, pretty much close to dead center of San Joaquin Valley in California. Yosemite is about an hour and 15 minutes up the hill. And then I was gonna then after those three things. Trees of Mystery I've actually been to, but I think I was about three or four at the time, so I really don't remember any of it. I just remember the talking statue of Paul Bunyan, and I'll go for, so that's my first visit, and then I'm going up to the Shakespearean Festival, and then I'm going to head up to Enchanted Forest. Which Enchanted Forest, you guys can look it up on YouTube. It's basically one guy made this entire thing himself, and it's a theme park based off of fairy tales. So yeah, check it out on YouTube. There's like lots of videos of it, and that it was Autumn, my middle daughter, that sent me a clip of it on Facebook, and it got my attention. I'm going like, I think we're going to go there. Originally, I was going to go to Evermore Park, but as of April, it's no longer in existence. And there are several reasons why it is not in existence. To my understanding, it had a lot to do with the owner of the company not paying his employees and not paying for the construction that was of everything there. He wasn't paying the contractors what they're due. He wasn't and eventually he wasn't even paying the rent for the property. So it pretty much quickly went all downhill in a matter of a short period of time. Coral Castle in Florida. I may move to Florida just because I found out that the sheriffs over there are badass. Oh, and the lovely lady that made this over at the Anime Con that I went to then purchased this. Thank you very much. I still use it months later, and I plan on using it for years to come. And there is a video of the Anime Con where I had got this cup, and I actually interviewed her. I think it was like the first time I ever actually decided to interview people for my videos. So if I sound a little nervous when I'm interviewing people, it's because I am. I'm not a very big interviewer kind of person. I'm not even a very sociable person. This is probably the most talking you'll get out of me a lot of the time when I'm not doing recordings. Because I'm not shy, I'm just uncomfortable around people. Especially people I don't know. But like if I've been around you a while and I got to know you, good luck shutting me up. But yeah, so there was that, and I heard about it last year. And that was around the time I went to the Renaissance Fair in my just outside of my hometown here, and it's the one in Texas. And I want to give that a place a visit, so I'm probably going to have to do that like the following year. I haven't figured out what year I'm going to do what trip, so I might end up doing the Texas one year, the trip to Oregon, and Vegas another year because I'm just going to do one big circle. I think I might do that as a the 2 year if I have 2 weeks paid vacation from a job. Cross fingers crossed. 2 weeks paid vacation. I'll do that trip to Oregon and to Vegas, and stay at the Excalibur, which I've never actually stayed in the Excalibur, but I visited the Excalibur. When I was younger, my parents, my grandparents, and my parents did a lot of road trips. I think the last major road trip we did together as a family was we went to the Sturgis motorcycle run in South Dakota, I believe it was. Could be North Dakota, but I don't remember which Dakota it was in. But we used to do a lot of road trips where we get all gather into a motorhome and drive off somewhere. It'd be gone for a month. But that's kind of like how I'm feeling about this. But I decided to go with themes so it be appropriate for my channel when I do recordings. Actually, I was there twice, possibly three times. I was really young the first time I went, and I barely remember it. But it was, yeah, I probably was like 3 years old the first time I was there. I was there in '99 and 2000. And if you look in the Sturgis edition of Easy Rider for 2000, you might find me in the picture somewhere. The big street picture that they have of the gathering of everybody. I actually enjoyed it there. Although, it, wait, JB, you're from South Dakota, aren't you? If I remember correctly. Oh. I have to say, uh, I'll answer your question just in just a moment. Neuromancer, give me just a second to finish with him. JP here. Um, Generally, I have to say, I thought for my Central Valley here, Sequoia, um, San Joaquin Valley, excuse me, San Joaquin Valley, Central Valley area, had some of the goofiest weather during the summer. Hands down, during the week that I was there for the during the two separate weeks in '99 and in 2000, I was there for the motorcycle rallies. Those were the goofiest freaking weather I have ever seen in my life. Snowing 1 second, raining another, bright sunny day, raining, snowing, heavy wind, could not make up its mind what weather it wanted to be in one day. But yeah, I'm like sitting there going like, good God, Mother Nature is having a panic attack. What the hell is going on? Yep, Black Hills. But yeah, I'm just sitting there going, what is going on with this weather? I thought Fresno had crazy weather during the summer. No, you guys have it beat. Yeah, but yeah, one day it was sunny, rain, heavy winds, snow, and then sunny again. And I'm just sitting there going like, what the hell was that? And the funniest thing was, we were staying at a trailer park because we were in a motorhome, and they had a swimming pool there. And there were people swimming in that thing through the whole weather situation like it was nothing. Yep. Okay, so yep. Well, actually, I haven't been there during the winter, but I'll give you a little story about winter here in a second. I'm going to answer Neuromancer Voigt's question real quick. Related to the medieval, did you read the Patrick Rothfuss book? Give me just a second. I am going to look this up. Patrick Rothfuss. Rothfuss. American fantasy writer. The Road, the Name of the wind. Slow regard of silent things. Why does this man look familiar to me? I recognize him. I don't know any of his work, but I recognize him, but I can't think of where. I think I've seen him on YouTube somewhere. Well, unfortunately, I gave myself the ridiculous task. Be right back. Don't be afraid. I'm still here. Don't panic. I promise to be gentle. Oh, wait. Wrong conversation. Sorry. Yeah. I think for the next few years, I'm not going to start reading any other books for a while. In just a second. This is really a balancing act for me. Okay. Unfortunately, I got the stack upside down, so give me another few seconds here. Panic, it's pure mayhem. Hold on. Geet. All right. These are all books I bought over the period of last year. Okay, what happened here? I think that one goes here. There we go. I mentioned this last year that I was going to try doing this, but sadly, I have to have my eyes checked because I can't read the books right now. I started reading them, but then I realized that I was straining my eyes to do so. And I made it through most of this book, but I completely forgot what I had even read by the time I tried to read it again. So I'm going to have to postpone reading these books until I have my eyes checked for eyeglasses. So you might be seeing me wear glasses within the year. But I got a lot of the Forgotten Realms books because I was pretty much most of the D&D games are all the majority of them are Forgotten Realms games with very little of the other stuff. I have no shame in that. But yeah, I'm trying to read the Forgotten Realms books in release order, not chronological, release order. So yeah, right now I've been trying to read Darkwalker of Moonshade, but I have to stop periodically because of eye strain right now. That's why it's taking me so long to read this. And what I think is funny though is Ed Greenwood is the guy that pretty much created Forgotten Realms, and he's the second book on the list. Yeah, so the first book is by a guy named Douglas Niles. I don't know that name, but it was like Ed Greenwood. You would think his book would be out first. Douglas Niles again. I think I got these out of order. How did I manage that? Anyway, but yeah, I'm going. Yeah, it is a pretty big log, and I don't think I'm going to be reading anything. I know there's what do you call a young adults books. I don't think I'm going to be reading any of those. But yeah, this is just the ones I bought. Bought up to the point, and there's one more over there, which is a little further down on the list, and because I had when I was buying this, I was buying these one at a time, but there was like one book I wanted, but it was part of a package deal that I got off of eBay. So I bought the other three books with it, and just kind of filled in the spaces in between. But yeah, I'm trying to read these, and I was going to do like a book report for you guys after I read them. But then it was like as I was reading this, I was realizing I was having a harder and harder time trying to make out the words or just the letters in general. But you want to know where I got started with reading? It wasn't actually this copy I had, but I did read a lot of Robert E. Howard and all the spin-off books that Tor did back in the 80s and 90s. And I had a huge collection of Conan books from Tor. Unfortunately, that was one of the things that I ended up having to get rid of when I was homeless. Well, the thing is I'm somewhat of a speed reader. If I'm not reading out loud, I'm a speed reader. I can pretty much retain everything I read and hear, and I'll remember everything like that. And I was to the point where I didn't even use bookmarkers. I knew exactly where I left off in a book. But when I was in middle school and high school, I always had my nose stuck in the book. So of course, when you had like little jackasses thinking they're going to mess with me by removing the bookmark, it didn't phase me because I wasn't using the bookmark. It was in there just to so they could think that they were screwing with me, but they really weren't. But yeah, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 bucks. Oh, by the way, the first one I actually bought, and this is out of order, was Pool of Radiance. And that was because I was playing the game Pool of Radiance, and I figured I'd read the book and think, oh, it might, give me a little hints or something on what to do. No, that was not the case. And yeah, so what I also think is funny is Azure Bonds actually came out before Pool of Radiance. So if you're thinking, oh, they came out, they're all part of the same series. No, Azure Bonds is actually a completely different series than the Forgotten Realms. That threw me for a loop. I'm sitting there looking. I'm going like, wow, Azure Bonds came out first, and it's the second game. It's almost like how do you describe it? Like it's like the James Bond books. When they made the movies, they're completely out of order to the books. Like I think it was Doctor No was the first movie, but it was like the sixth or seventh book in the series, and From Russia with Love was technically the last book in the original series. And not many people know this, but James Bond dies in it. Yeah, James Bond dies in the novel From Russia with Love. Although they kind of retconned it later on, but in the books. But yeah, originally he dies at the very end. But yeah, I don't know how I ended up getting them out of order when I was pulling them out of the shelf. So I'm gonna have to look up the list to get them back in order when I put them back. Anything D&D I actually read was I think the very first book was Legend of Huma, and of course it was Dragonlance, but I had no idea. It said Volume One on it, Heroes Volume One, so I thought it was like the first book, for everything, right? Because I didn't know it was part of another series, and this was a library book in my middle school, and I kind of got addicted to those Dragonlance books after a while. I started reading all of them, and then kind of found out what order they were supposed to be in. So I ended up reading Chronicles and Legends, which are okay. I'm not going to consider them the best reads. If you're reading to see something in the form of a Dungeons and Dragons scenario, yes, it's very good. But as a read for like your average reader, just to pick up a book and read, no. If you go in knowing what you're getting, you're going to get what you're going to get it. But if you're going in there thinking you're going to get this fantastical Lord of the Rings ish adventure with it's got a lot of background and stuff, but it's subpar as far as I'm concerned towards say Lord of the Rings. Um, I at one time I was trying. Have you read something? Uh, okay. I do not know how to pronounce the name of his country, but Elric, yes. And I also read Hawkwind. A lot of the Eternal Champion books I've read. Granted, a lot of them are not in order, but tell you the truth, he never wrote any of them in order, so it didn't matter. Oh yeah, yeah, I read a lot of it, and I think the first one I read was actually it was part of a fantasy collection I picked up at a used bookstore. I hadn't heard of him yet, and it was the Jade Man's Eyes, which was an Elric story, and I thought it was pretty good. And so I got interested in the series. Here's the funny thing, though. I really hadn't read it until after I read a book on Satanism. It was a Christian anti-Satanism book that I ended up picking up, which by the way has a big old pentagram on it, but it's written by Christians. So of course I'm taking this book to school and everyone thinks I'm a Satan worshiper now, and I'm going like, but the author is a Christian. It's an anti-Satanism book. Of course, all they see is the big pentagram on it, so they're going nuts. But so I just let them think that. I let them think I was a Satanist. Whatever. I was just positively evil. Of course, wearing all black and a black trench coat didn't help. uh, so, I'll see what I can do about that, JP. And I think I recognize where I've seen him. He was on Critical Role a couple of times, I believe. The author you mentioned, Neuromancer. Because I saw his picture, I'm going like he looks familiar to me. Then all of a sudden it occurred to me, I'm going like, I think I saw him on Critical Role one time. One of their when they had other people join in on the game periodically in the early days. I don't know if they still do that or not. I kind of stopped watching them after a while. I know that's such sacrilege for people going like, how can you stop watching Critical Role? It's the greatest thing to ever happen to Dungeons and Dragons. I periodically watch it, but it's like I don't go, completely insane to watch every live stream that's up. And I kind of get I kind of get bored watching people playing Dungeons and Dragons on the screen. I'd rather be playing it, not watching it. I feel like I was when I was about 4 or 5 years old, watching my uncle play with his friends, and I'm going like, I want to play. Not till you're older, and then he moves out of town because he joined the army. Let's see. The Misenchanted Sword. Okay, I might actually look into that one because you mentioned it a few times. I might actually look into it when I have money to look it up. Um, Another series I read that was pretty good. Now I know it's probably not up to par to everybody else. I read the Xanth series for a while. I know who was it? Piers Anthony, I think it was. And I have to admit that was probably that if you read Xanth and you read it from the point of view of a DM, that's probably some of the best DM stuff you've ever heard is reading Xanth because it's so out there. Like people, using acronyms for names and stuff. But yeah, it's like yeah, if anything, if you read Xanth and you see it from the standing point of an average DM that's trying to make up stuff as he goes along, that's what it feels like to me. And I think it was funny that Xanth was actually written out as the name of the demon that the island is on, or the continent or island is on, and his name is actually spelled like a chemical formula. Ooh. Yeah, I stopped. What was it back in? I was maybe what 2022, and I think that yeah, no, I was like 2021 at that time. I said 22, but I think it was earlier than that. And it was Ogre is what was the first one I read, and of course it was Piers Anthony did an interesting thing. He wrote a trilogy of books, but the way he writes them is he writes one book, then he writes a second book with minor connections to the first book. Then he writes the third book, which has connections to the first two books. And but he writes them in a way to where it looks like they're not supposed to be a trilogy, but they are a trilogy. And then he starts the fourth book, and then started calling it the Ever Expanding Trilogy. I read God, Foundation. Uh, I read Foundation, just the original trilogy. That's all I read back in elementary school. Yeah, I was reading Asimov in elementary school. People were like, teachers were shocked. They're like, "You're reading Asimov and you're only 10, 8, 9 years old. You're reading Dune." Which, by the way, I've seen the first half, the first movie of Dune. I haven't seen this part two yet. And the reason I haven't seen part two is because I haven't gotten around to it, and two, I don't know. I just didn't care for the part one. I didn't. I think I watched. I have it on DVD or Blu-ray. I think it's Blu-ray, but I watched it one time, and it didn't blow my socks off. But I heard Foundation has a series, but a lot of people are telling me I shouldn't bother with it. But I read Foundation and Empire, and I think what was the second one? Foundation and Earth, I think it was. But I think out of the original trilogy, I think it was the second one I liked the most when they introduced the mule. Uh, and the main reason especially when they do novelizations of a lot of the more recent show, I actually got started reading books because of the original Dune movie. Because I found out there was more, there was more story after it. But I ended up reading the book first and realizing huge, huge differences between the two. Oh yeah. And then when they give the revelation of who he is, that was spectacular. Um, of who the mule was. But yeah, back to Dune. I ended up reading what was it, Dune Messiah, and I cried. I've never cried over a book before, but I cried because of the death of one of the characters at the end. And Children of Dune made me a wreck. But I knew what he was doing with the story at that point. Even though I was like maybe 10 or 11 years old at the time, I knew what he was doing at that point with that story, Frank Herbert. And it's basically a, what do you call it? A deconstruction of the Messianic hero. That's the entirety of the original Dune saga. It was a deconstruction of the Messianic hero, because you have Paul Atreides, and he's the quote unquote chosen one that's supposed to do all these great things, and almost immediately within the first book, you're given given reasons why this is a bad thing. Not necessarily because of him, but because of the situation, and the buildup of his own power causes him to make that situation better and worse. Because he's going like, yeah, there's if I do what I'm going to do, there's going to be a holy war. They're going to be screaming my name while they're slaughtering people. He goes, I don't want to do that, but then ends up doing it anyway. And even he literally says there's like two paths I can take. I can either do this and lose my humanity, or do this and cause a huge upheaval of religious wars. And he wanted to keep his humanity, but still he loses part of it anyway. So, but yeah, it was like it's a but you don't go into it thinking you're reading some sort of adventure story about good guys conquering over evil. It's more in the line. It's like someone described it to me once. I forgot who said it. I think it was someone on YouTube described it as Dune is basically Game of Thrones in space. And if you guys know Game of Thrones, it doesn't end well for a majority of the people in that series of books or movies or TV shows or whatever. It doesn't end well for the majority. People are beheaded for doing the right thing. Uh, nice people are slaughtered just because they happen to be there. But yeah, that's, that's pretty much Dune in the nutshell. If you know anything about Game of Thrones, Dune's pretty much the same thing, just in space. And I think that's what the 19 what was it 1984 1984 was when Dune came out, the first movie. And I think that was the big point that they missed in that one. They made him the Masonic hero, but they made him the ultimate good guy, which he wasn't in the books at all. I think he even points out that everything he was doing wasn't a lie. Yeah, but I just use it as a good way to describe it to people because people know Game of Thrones more than they know Dune nowadays. So when I try to describe Dune to people, that's how I describe it. I said it's basically Game of Thrones, but in space. Because what is Game of Thrones? Game of Thrones has royal families fighting for power. What does Dune have? Dune has royal families fighting for power. But Dune has the MacGuffin, the spice, melange. I think the only MacGuffin that Game of Thrones had was the White Walkers, because I think it was like a lot of the setup for the White Walkers was just kind of like backstory for the longest time before like the latter story started kicking in. Because up to that point, it's like, okay, why do we keep going back to the White Walkers? Why does that have to do with anything? Because the first season is like you see periodic things about it, but it's like it really has nothing to do with the main plot of the season. Whereas in Dune, the melange is pretty much the center point of everything going on. And I think that was another thing I pointed out too. I said, I, uh, I think I pointed this out to someone because I read like the first couple of books of Game of Thrones before I got bored. Hyperion. I actually heard Hyperion is really good, although I can't seem to find any copies in my area. About 10 years ago, pretty much every single one of the used bookstores disappeared. And I think the only bookstore we have now is Barnes and Noble. And Barnes and Noble, I don't like going to them because a lot of the times I have to order the book I want to read. And that is true, but then it's not brought up for the rest of the time for the season. I mean, it's like, yeah, it kind of brings our characters into play, but then after that, it's just like, yeah, they don't bring it up again for a while. And before anybody asks, yes, I hated the ending of the final season. I actually hated the final season because of its lackluster conclusion. I didn't mind the fact that the good guys were actually winning for once. I didn't mind that. That was going to happen eventually anyway. That was inevitable. But everybody was complaining like, "Oh, no, they're all just winning all the time. Nothing bad happening to them." I'm going like, "Well, it's going to happen sooner or later." But yeah, so like, I think the main thing that really ticked me off was they did all the buildup of the White Walkers and then barely did anything with it. Because what happens at the, oh yeah, what Ariana Stark is the one that does it, even though it was like they were giving the impression that it was going to be one of the it was either going to be I'm trying to remember their names. It was either going to be Jon Snow or what's her name, Daenerys, that were going to do it. That was going to save the day or whatever. And neither one of them are even present. I think it's been a while since I watched it. I watched them all on DVD because I don't get watch HBO. I don't watch television in general. My dad has all of them, so I ended up watching them, just to watch something different. And when it got to that bit where it was like big final battle, I'm like, oh, okay, and it was over like that, and I'm just sitting there going, really? That was it. So then I'm sitting there going like, well, I feel sorry for the people that's got to clean up the mess because that's going to smell in about a week. But I think the biggest disappointment was the fact that they brought, they did give hints about it, but I don't think they gave enough hints. And that was spoiler alert for anybody that doesn't know. Daenerys goes batshit when her closest confidant is killed, and basically destroys King's Landing. And I'm just sitting there going like, uh, where did this come from? And then of course, she's it was like she had a complete change of character when she's asked, but what about the people? What about their freedom? She goes, they're only going to get the freedom I give them, kind of crap. And I'm going like, that was not how she was before she got on the continent. When she was over at the others, she was like making everybody free and stuff, and they could follow her if they wanted to. Now it's like you're following me or else. And I just went like, wow, she just completely changed character within 4 or 5 episodes. It was a 180 that I felt wasn't earned. Yeah. Oh, I agree. I didn't so much piss me off. It's just I felt like it wasn't earned. That's how I feel about it. It wasn't earned. There was no build up to it. It was just all of a sudden she's crazy. Like she sets two people on. She's even told you don't want to do this. She's setting people on fire that don't agree with her all of a sudden. It just came out of nowhere, and there should have been more build up to it, which they didn't do. And of course, her attitude of bend the knee because I'm here now, which she was not like that before. She only acted like that when she felt like she had to, and she didn't need to at any juncture at so far because nobody knew her. And I have yet to watch season one of House of the Dragon, even though it's sitting in my room waiting to be watched. I have yet to sit down to watch it because I've been getting what do you call it? Different stories from different people that watch it. Some people say like, "Oh, it's pretty good. If you like Game of Thrones, you'll love this one." Those are like, "Oh God!" But start. I might end up watching it here in a couple weeks or so, and I'll give you my opinion on it then. Because since season two started a couple of weeks ago, um, I'm trying to think here. Oh God. Oh, uh, I was talking about road trips earlier, and I completely got sidetracked for like half an hour. Um, Back to the trips. After the Texas, excuse me, Renaissance Fair, I'm going to be the next trip I'm going to pull for is I'm thinking of going to Georgia, and that's because I want to go. Oh, was it Georgia or was it Wisconsin? Because I want to go to Lake Geneva, which is where Gary Gygax had mostly created Dungeons and Dragons. I know David Arneson is involved, but I don't know any places that have museums of him anywhere. Lamenting over South Dakota. But yeah, I'm thinking about going to uh, Lake Geneva and then head over to Indiana for at some point for the Gen Con. I've heard of the Gen Cons. I've never been to one, so I'm actually curious to see go to one and see what they're like. Um, I think I did. When I was homeless, I was living in my nearby church, and there was a library nearby, and I was reading a lot of D&D related biographies that were over there. Like one, I think, was a girl that works for Wizards of the Coast wrote a book, and it was talking about her experiences making a D&D character for the first time and working with the company. And I think I did read stuff on Gary Gygax. Um, God, what was it? One of the not related to Gary Gygax, but one of my security jobs, which I think will probably be my next video for you know my security guard stories. Uh, One of them was a convention, was a gamers convention. It was both video games and tabletop games. I do believe that, and this was up in the Bay Area, San Francisco area. I do believe that Critical Role was there, although I couldn't confirm it, but people told me they were there because I was one of the guards at one of the entrances for the where they had the competition gaming for some shooter game. Um, but I didn't. I go like, oh man, I wish I was in that guarding in that room. That would be cool. But no, I didn't. I didn't get to be in that room. I was outdoors by metal detectors and archways. So, but I'll tell the story on that one for my next on the watch videos. Tales from the Watch. I forgot my own name of my own story series. But yeah, so yeah, I got ideas of where I want to go to. It's just getting there's the trick. And right now, being jobless is a more of a hindrance than ever. I wish I was making money off of YouTube before you guys even say anything. If I wish I was making money on YouTube, because it probably wouldn't be an issue. But yeah, I'm supposed right now from where so everybody understands where I'm standing. And I'm not saying I'm bitching about it. I'm just saying from their point of view, this is how they do things. I have 736 or 35. Let me look at my channel real quick. Oh, 739. That's new. Okay. Wow. I That must have just happened. Okay, because it was 735 this morning. So I jumped up four since then. Let's see here. Give me just a second. Oh, there we go. Oh, that ain't it. There we go. There we go. How they base their earnings. Well, I keep saying I'm not earning right now. I could have started last year, but apparently the one thing that my biggest hit on my channel was the old Dungeons and Dragons commercial from the early 80s, which obviously is not mine, but that was my big seller and it put me well over 5,000 hours worth of viewership. And they said, "Well, we can't give you money for that." And I said, "Okay." So I got rid of that one and started fresh. Um, so for eligibility, I need over 500 subscribers. I'm at 739 right now, so I have no worries on that. But what they're asking of me is they want me to have a public watch hours of over 3,000 hours. As of right now, within the last 365 days, I stand at 749. I think you told me that the last time because something to do with uh, identity or something like that. I forgot what it was exactly you said, but anyway. But yeah, but yeah. So I'm like not quite there by a long shot. 749 hours to 3,000. That's quite a bit, and I don't make that kind of viewership right now. I mean, I got subscribers, but they don't watch my videos apparently. Because if you look at the viewership of my videos, which I think you guys can see, the majority of the time, the most videos I'll have viewed on there is maybe 10. One of them being me because I watch my own videos. Oh yeah. Oh, I get that. I understand that. Uncle Sam, Big Brother can track you down with your phone, which explains why everybody's calling for me saying, "Are you interested in buying our new product?" When I started this channel, you're gonna find this funny. I actually had no intentions of doing this as like a business, lucrative business kind of thing. I started this because it was mainly curiosity to see if people would be willing to help me out with these games. Because I don't know if you've watched my videos, but I suck, especially with the older games. Where there's a lot of puzzle solving involved. I suck at solving puzzles, and a lot of the times when they throw puzzles in. Let me put it to you this way: I played Secret of Mana, which is probably one of the easiest RPGs to play. It's an action RPG, JRPG, and has a lot of connections to Final Fantasy. And there is one puzzle in it that, for the life of me, I could not figure out. And the thing is, nowadays I look back on the puzzle and I just sit there going, like, how did I not figure that out? I ended up having to go to Walden Books. Yeah, Walden Books. Those don't exist anymore. Which was over at the mall where I currently live, and I went over there and found the strategy guide. Went flipping through it, found the page I needed, and I read it. I'm going like, it's that simple. All I had to do. There's 4 seasons in this one puzzle. It was winter, spring, summer, fall. You land in well, when you first get there, you land in fall. All you have to do is go counterclockwise through the areas, and that opens the pathway. That's it. Hi, Chicken Joe. Uh, I might go for another hour since I'm having fun right now. Oh my god, I'm having fun on a live stream, and I'm not playing a game. I'm actually talking with people. Oh, interactions with people. No, I'm not drunk and I'm not on drugs. I'm just in a good mood. But yeah, that was I think that was like one of the first RPGs, video game RPGs I actually beat was Secret of Mana, and it was all because I only could, and it was only because I had to look up one time on a strategy guide how to get through a simple walk around the 4 areas counterclockwise. I should have never mentioned them. You're going to keep going at me with that, aren't you? anyway, anyway, no, there's no nudes. They don't exist anymore. It was a story that was mentioned earlier about what had happened to me back when, and JP has not let up on me ever since. You big bully. But where was I? Before I was so rudely interrupted. But yeah, it was. I was talking about Secret of Mana, which yeah. By the way, I'm not going to play any JRPGs on my channel. I know I mentioned this earlier, but I'm letting you guys know again. Yeah, but yeah, there may be a there might be a JRPG sometime in the distant future, but it's not right now because I got plenty of other games I got to go through right now. Because right now, hold on. Oh, it's right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 12 games I'm going through within the next month. I'm going to be some of them I'm actually just starting. Some of them I'm in the middle of. I actually finished one last month, and that was Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, which is a fairly simple game to get through. I don't know where I am when he's in chat. Anyway, so yeah, we got. I'm gonna go through the list again real quick. Baldur's Gate, I got to start over again because of my little mishap yesterday. If anybody's watched my recent video, I had a big calamity yesterday where I accidentally erased a program which pretty much had everything on it, and because I was clearing out, the hard drive because I had so much crap in it. So I accidentally removed one program, and I mean by accident, I was actually aiming for the program just underneath it, and I ended up losing all my games off of my all my family photos. Everything was gone. So I went and fortunately I had backup on everything. Yes, now I know not to touch OneDrive. I've got to be extremely cautious when it comes to OneDrive because you just accidentally erase it and you lose the whole damn thing, including your mind. Anyways, so I ended up putting OneDrive back on, and fortunately, it had the OneDrive that I reloaded back on had the backup of everything that was on it, so I was able to bring everything back. I haven't checked Knights of the Chalice yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be okay. There's one game missing off of here. Yeah. There is a game that I don't have up on here. Where is it? Legends of Amberland. Where are you? There we go. Install. Hopefully that one's still saved. And what was the other one? And Knights of the Chalice. I unfortunately I haven't really gotten that far in Knights of the Chalice because the first session I did, if you guys watched that video, the very first battle I went through maybe 3 or 4 times before finally completing it, and that was an entire video in itself. So that was just the first session, was me just trying to get past the very first battle. I was finally doing a little bit of exploring in the second session, but I might have to do it all over again if it's the save is not there. Fingers crossed when I check later. And same thing with Secrets of Amberland, or Legends of Amberland, excuse me. I got Secret of Mana stuck in my head right now. Yeah, the puzzles weren't too bad, but it was like I just remember that one being the one I had the hardest time with. And if you guys know the game Secret of Evermore, which was kind of made in the same style, but it was very much an American version of a JRPG. Um, in that game, you play as a young boy and a dog. Now, mind you, up to this point, I did not know this was a thing because it doesn't. I don't think it mentions it in the manuals at all. But you can switch between the dog and the boy throughout the entire game, and I didn't know there was particular reasons why you needed to switch between the two characters. Reason being, only the dog can solve certain puzzles or certain traps. Case in point, I'm in the second world of the game, and I think it was like the Egyptian area or something like that. And I'm going through the whole area. All of a sudden, I find I am stuck because I keep finding bridges that are incomplete. You see one side of a bridge and you see the other side of a bridge. Oh, that's nasty. Anyway, so what ended up happening was it turns out you need to switch over to your dog, and the dog can automatically jump. Just put him in a running start, and he'll jump right over the from one end of one side of the bridge to the other side of the bridge, right over the gap. I did not know that was a thing. And the funny thing was, I went through 4 months trying to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do because the strategy guide that I would have read was no longer available at the bookstore. So I think it was CJ. CJ, by the way, if you've seen some of the games where I play with another person on in a group game or whatever, CJ's usually the other person. He's my cousin. I'm the eldest cousin, but he's one of the younger cousins. But the funny thing is, when it comes to all my cousins, these kids are all like 6 foot something. I mean, the boys and the girls are all 6 foot something. I'm the runt. I'm 5'7", and everybody else is like this, and they're all younger than me. But yeah, he I go, hey, we're hanging out for at someplace, and I was telling and he goes, here, I'll show you. He goes over, goes boop right over. I'm like, really? And then later on in the game, uh, there's like this spot where you go through some plants, and they insta kill you no matter what. And I couldn't figure it out. And then I think I gave CJ a phone call. I called him all. He was living in Texas all the time. I called him all the way over in Texas. I said, "How do I get through this?" And he says, "Don't turn the lights on." That's simple. He said, "Yeah, you could go through there. Just don't turn the lights on." Because I kept turning the lights on before I went in, and that's why they were killing me because they could see me. I'm going like I said, dirt simple puzzles, easily solvable, but I'm not thinking in the way that they're thinking I should think. Because I'm one of those people. I go like, okay, point A, point B, done. But no, it's more like, no, you have to do point A, sidetrack to sidetrack over to here, then come back to B. Uh, well, one when I let's see here. Probably the next game I'm going to start in on is Wasteland Remastered, which will probably be my next video if I can get it to record properly. Hopefully, with all that crap taken off of my computer, some of the recordings will improve. Uh, and and I'm just going to stick with Wizardry and the Forgotten on the old and the Gold Box games are going to be on Twitch. But I will, when I'm done with Twitch live streams, I usually just re-edit them and then put them in as a video for YouTube. So if you don't catch it on Twitch, you can always catch it later on YouTube in an edited form. In Baldur's Gate 2, Dark Alliance 2 I'm also going to be doing soon. I want to get the action RPGs out of the way, I guess. Which brings the question, has anybody played, what was it called? I want to make sure I'm getting the right title here. Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. Has anybody played that, and is there any relations to the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games, other than being in the Forgotten Realms setting? A little quick yes or no, or maybe, or something, because I'm considering getting it if it has any connection to the previous two games, or if it's in general just fun to play, or worth my $29.99 or $19.99 with the added bonus of the DLC. Forgotten Realms, or it's just called Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance, not Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. It's Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance, and it came out back in 2021. I tend not to watch reviews or what do you call them? I should probably look up reviews on it myself, and maybe they'll tell me. But I tend not to, because a lot of the time I'll listen to a review or something, but then I'll turn around and they'll say, "Oh, it's a great game," and I'll play it and I'll go, "I freaking hate this game," or they'll go, "Oh, this game sucks. Don't even open your wallet to it," and I'll find out that I'm actually enjoying the game quite a bit. Which some of the games I've actually played on this channel have been like that, where it's like people tell me, "Oh, it sucks. Don't bother with it. Don't even look at it." But it's like I'll play them, going, "Hey, that was pretty good." The only game I'm not going to play that's Dungeons and Dragons related, and it is available on Steam, but I'm never going to play it, is Daggerdale. There is a reason why I'm not going to play Darkest Dungeon, is because I've watched people play it. I've seen people lose their freaking minds on it. So I can't handle that kind of stress. There have been a couple games on here where I do get a little frustrated, but it's like I'm not screaming, smashing my keyboard, angry by the end of it. And I can't handle that. My budget can't handle that. I think I played one game like that one time. I think it was called Demon Souls. It was for the PlayStation 2. And I broke my controller playing that game. And I didn't even get that far in the game. But yeah, I'll look into reviews then. From what I'm seeing here on. Well, here's the funny thing. I'm looking at it and it's got mixed reviews for the one thing, but the DLC gets a lot of high reviews, mostly positive. Patient zero. You think too highly of yourself. But I was looking at my game list right here, because I got all the thumbnails of the games I'm playing. With the exception of RetroArch, I have to actually turn that on so I can see the game list. Which Tomorrow night I might go back to Dragon Stomper on Twitch. For those of you interested in joining me on a Twitch stream, I try to go on roughly around this time or anytime between 5 o'clock to midnight. I try to do a stream. That's Western time, Pacific Standard Time. And I mostly play like the Gold Box games, old Atari games, which this one is a Dragon Stomper, which is, by the way, the only RPG I can find or that apparently exists for the Atari 2600. And let's see, the other one is okay. I don't know if I'm going to be playing Hero Quest as a stream, but I will be making a few more videos of it. Might not be a very long series considering it's an incomplete game. Gotta get back to Shadowrun at some point. Um, I'll probably be starting Warriors of the Eternal Sun soon. What are you doing? And oh yeah, TurboGrafx, that's up here. But I also need to get back to Order of the Griffin since I haven't been playing that one very often. It's not even 4th of July yet. Oh, over here it's nuts when it comes to fireworks. They'll start up fireworks like in months before the specific holiday for fireworks even happens. New Year's, 4th of July. You'll be hearing fireworks over the weekends in the middle of the week, 3, 4, 5 a.m. in the morning. Oh, Dad opened the door. Miley might be wanting in. Yeah, they just started selling fireworks over in the parking lots of some of the places. Phantom Works, I think it is. Yeah, Dragon Stomper, I'm going to be getting back to. Like I said, it's just 3 areas. It's the field, and in the field, you're trying to make your way into the town. And then the town, that's where you're buying all your stuff so you can fight the dragon. And then you're going into through the traps area, going through it until you get to the dragon, defeat the dragon, and save the area, save the land. And that's pretty much it. But the thing is, you have to build up everything before you can even do anything, and that's the hardest part. Is just being in the first area is the hardest part. If you've watched the video I already did, it's like no sooner you turn the game on, you could be attacked like that because there's no title screen. It's just the game start the moment the game is on. It's already started. So I was like, It's one of those wake up call games. It's like, well, you turn the game on. You obviously want to play, so we're not even going to make you press start. We're going now. And then I forgot how I even came across Dragon Stomper. I think it was like I was looking up a list of old school games that were RPGs for consoles and stuff, and that popped up on someone's list, and so that put it on my radar, and I looked for a ROM for my emulator. Those interested in knowing what my emulator is, I use RetroArch, which can be found on Steam. I think GOG has it too, but I'm not sure. I didn't check. I do have GOG games, but I don't play very many of them because a lot of the games I've got are already on Steam. But a lot of the games that I can't find on Steam, I was able to find on GOG, so that's how I go. For instance, what's the name of the one game on there? Uh, trying to think of the name of it. Temple of Elemental Evil. Can't find it on Steam, but I was able to find it on GOG. And I did a small playthrough of it before I ended up getting rid of a lot of my older videos. And that is one I'm probably going to come back to once I get through more of the games I got going right now. Um, let's see. But yeah, Wasteland. I might actually start up. I might actually play it a little later today and have a video up over the weekend for a Wasteland remastered. And if everything works out okay, and same thing, I might even in at some point tomorrow or later on tonight, I might even do a live stream of some other game. Probably. Why does it look like that? I have a few Cthulhu games, but it's the point and click system. I'm not really fond of point and click story games. I played, especially the older ones like King's Quest or Space Quest. I had like the box sets for those, and the main problem I had with them is because they had a keyword system. You had to type out the words, but if you misspelled it or anything like that, or you didn't know what the word was that you're trying to convey, it would completely hinder your game. Mm. But yeah, a lot of the point and click story games I don't play. Uh, well, the other funny thing was is I couldn't get a lot of the box sets at the time. I don't know MS DOS. I don't know how to work MS DOS for the life of me. I watched Spoonie's playthrough of Phantasmagoria 2, I think it was, and that's the only version I watched. And yeah, he was actually one of the earliest guys I watched on YouTube was Spoonie, the Nostalgia Critic. I don't watch them very much anymore because they just don't appeal to me anymore. I do watch a little bit of Markiplier and the other guys, Jacksepticeye and all them. Just a second. This the back. This that'll smell nice. Who am I again? Oh. But yeah, I watch. I think out of all the review videos I used to watch when I was younger, I think the best one was the Spoonie's Ultima retrospective, which I consider that is top tier to me. And at one time I wanted to do stuff like that, but I stutter, especially when I'm trying to you hear me right now. I'm like when I'm talking. It's a minor stutter in my voice, but even when I do my gameplay stuff, you'll hear me mumble or jumble my words a lot. But because I've been like that for years, and it's like, and I don't read off a script or anything for anything. Even when I'm doing like a retrospective on my own campaign stuff, and I'm not reading off a script. I'm just going off the top of my head what I'm saying, and I think that's one of my big problems is because I can't read off of a script. It's very disjointed to me when I do that. So yeah, I'm just when you see me doing like interviews or at a convention or anything like that, or talking about a subject for a period of time, and with all the pictures and video clips and stuff on it. I'm not reading off a script. I'm just talking off the whatever comes to off the top of my head, and yeah, I I think that's a turnoff for a lot of people because a lot of my videos where I do that, it's like because there's no script, it's just me talking about the subject at hand. I was like that even in high school. I never, I'd write a book report, but I wouldn't read from the paper. I would just talk off, what I remembered. Okay, so I'm banning JP for life. I'm just kidding, JP. Bad speller of the world in Thai. Hmm. I think it's supposed to be unite. Hmm. Yeah, I really didn't get into a computer. I think I didn't get into computer games until '96 when I was actually had a computer in the house that I could actually play games on. Because the first one I had was a Tandy Color computer, and that was in the mid '80s, and it was mostly cartridge games. I think it was Sylphid, a game called I don't remember. It was like a Donkey Kong knockoff of some sort, and I think the only game I actually played that was anything fantasy related, I did a video on it. It was called Madness and the Minotaur, or Minotaur, pertaining to whoever wants to pronounce it. And it was a text based game, kind of like Zork. If anybody's ever played Zork, and pretty much all it is just text. It tells you what it is. You type out what you want to do. That's it. That's the whole game. And if you picked up items or anything, you better write it down so you remember it because it's not going to keep a list for you. And it was on cassette, so I had to, which we didn't know when we ordered it. We ordered it off the catalog, so we thought that we were going to get a cartridge or something like that. It shows up; it's on a little cassette tape. For those of you who don't know what a cassette tape is, this was something that happened before CDs. And before anybody loses their mind going, what the hell's a CD? That was before people started streaming and doing other stuff on the internet all the time. We actually had to have hard copies of stuff. So what ended up happening was, so we got this cassette, and I didn't have the player to plug into my computer, so we had to order that. But so yeah, I think I played it a few times before I got before I could figure out, I had no idea what I was doing in it. So that was about $20 down the drain, and another $30 down the drain because I had to buy the cassette player. But in that same video, or that same video that I made, the first true role playing game I actually played, and I'm not talking JRPGs, because the JRPGs I played was Dragon Warrior, later known as Dragon Quest here in the States, and or actually vice versa. It was Dragon Quest, but it was Dragon Warrior at the time in the States. I played the first Final Fantasy on NES. I also played, oh, excuse me, and of course, Secret of Mana and Secret of Evermore, which weren't really role playing games. They were more action RPGs. But those were the games I played at the time. But when I really got into playing CRPGs, that was Wizardry 7. That was the one where I just went like, I actually feel like I'm playing a role playing game. Because I never played a CRPG or an RPG, I should just say, where I could sit down, actually build a group of characters that I want to play as, instead of getting stuck with you got your fighter guy. What are you going to name him? You got your thief guy. What are you going to name him? You got your cleric girl. What are you going to name her? And you got your wizard guy. What are you going to name him? And that was pretty much it. You just named the characters. That's not building characters. It's just putting names on something. Here you actually sat down. You put numbers on things. You calculated stuff. You built things as you wanted it. And I'm just sitting there going like, this is actual role playing. This is what, if I was to ever play D&D, this is what actual D&D feels like, probably. And then I actually got to play D&D and found out it's a completely different ballpark. And yeah, I played D&D for the first time. Well, actually, it wasn't the first time. It was AD&D. It was second edition, and I got invited to a little get together, and built my human barbarian. I was a fan of Conan at the time, and what ended up happening, I think I might have mentioned this in another stream. I don't remember, but what ended up happening was one of the other players decided to have a hissy fit about how the game was starting, and it was an argument with the player and the DM that went on for over an hour. The DM, by the way, is one of my best friends, still is to this day, and got into an argument with the two of them. Got into an argument over the situation, and everybody else was just snacking and watching TV and stuff, waiting to get back to the game. And a couple of the other players was just showing me the ropes of how the game works and stuff, because I had never played before, so I didn't know anything about the dice. I didn't know anything about percentages, the decimals, and the fractions. Nothing. I suck at math, so I'm learning all this stuff. I feel like I'm in math class all over again. Then I think, yeah, we were at his house, and then one of the other guys, he goes, "Hey, I got. If you guys want to, we can go over to the rec room over at the apartment complex that I live at, which was just on the other side of the block." And so we went over there, and this place had a big screen TV with a VCR, in there, and a pool table, a couple other. It was a rec room. And we were going to play D&D in there. And we were like, oh, okay, this is going to be cool playing it in here. And someone put Excalibur on the TV, and Excalibur's playing on there. And we're getting back, and we finally get back to the game about 2 hours after the argument started. We sit down, we get back to the game, and Not even 5 minutes in, girl starts up again. And they're going to the other room. They close the door behind them. They're yelling at each other and they're just, well, not, he's not yelling. He's actually being calm about it. She's the one losing her shit. Excuse my language. But, yeah, she's just going off on him about whatever this. I don't even know what the situation was anymore. It had something to do with, you know, she's one of those ones that she has to be the main character, even though it's a group game. She has to be the main character. She has to be the focus, and I guess she couldn't handle that. I don't know, but let me tell you this: many years later, I'm DMing one of my first games, and what ended up happening was she ended up in my group, but I remembered what had happened, and I think she was hoping I wouldn't remember, but I did remember. But I was going to give her a chance because she was the manager at my apartment complex. I was going to give her a shot. So what ended up happening was, um, I think we did like 2 or 3 sessions, and I realized something was amiss, and I couldn't quite figure out what, and it had to do with her. Now she hadn't done any arguing with me and stuff like that, but what she was playing a Minotaur Rogue, and this is fourth edition stuff. She's playing a Minotaur Rogue, and she is not playing the Minotaur Rogue very roguelike. In fact, she's playing it like a straight fighter. And I think I caught out of the corner of my eye one time because they were doing we were having a shopping session where everybody's in town. They got a bunch of money. They're going to spend the loot. Want to spend the loot and get better equipment and whatnot. And what ended up happening was, I think I went to the restroom and I walked past her, but she didn't. She did like that gesture of her hand, like she was blocking me seeing something. And what she did was she put her hand over her GP, how much gold she had, or just currency in general. I think it was just GP. I don't think we were going through the whole, you know, you know, currency standards. We were just going with GP, and then I kind of glanced over and I saw that the only erasures that happened was when the numbers went up. The numbers were never going down. So she was collecting money and then not spending it. She was basically stealing items. And I kind of caught it, but the thing was, is like, I didn't say anything about it. And I get a hold of my friend who was at the original game, and we go back, and I'm going like, well, this is what I think she's, you know, trying to cheat everybody out of stuff by giving herself free stuff. And I said she's playing a Minotaur Rogue, and not necessarily playing it like a rogue. She's just playing it like a straight fighter. She's not doing anything roguelike at all. And I said, would you mind joining us in for a session to, watch my back kind of thing? And he makes a suggestion about, well, I had a laptop at the time. So I was just starting into using computers for D&D stuff. And he suggested a program that I use on there where I could basically, you know, copy down everyone's stats on the computer, and I could, basically keep a track of what everybody's doing on my computer without having to go over and look at their sheets. I know I keep looking up instead of at the camera. The reason is because I got the monitor of myself up there, and that's where you guys are talking in the chat. But the camera's down here in the on the monitor of the laptop. So I'm constantly looking up here, reading what you guys are saying if you say anything. I know I don't have to say that, but It's annoying me that I'm doing that. So anyway, so what ended up happening was he shows up, and you can already, when she walks in and sees him, you could cut the tension with a spork. And I think she knew she was going to get caught. And so before the session starts, I said, "Hey guys, I want to help you guys out a bit. I want to help keep track of what's going on with your character sheets and stuff. I'm going to ask you to let me have your, we're going to go through the sheets together, and I'm going to put it up on the computer, and that way, we can keep, you know, that way when we play the game, I know what you guys have, and I can help, kind of lean the adventure more to what you guys are capable of instead of just wondering, oh, did I hit you? Oh, did you hit me? That kind of thing. And it was a six-party group, and everybody was pretty agreeable with it except for her. She was the only one that had any issue with it, and she got very vocal about it. And my wife was one of the players, and she asked her, "Well, what's the problem with it? It's just he wants to help us. He wants to help us out, and he's helping himself out by, not having to constantly ask us, what our AC is and whatnot." And she was just flat out refusing to let me look at her paper. And finally, I said, "Okay, I was going to be nice about this, but I know you've been cheating." And I said, I was being really lenient because I caught you twice at this already. And I said, I was really hoping you were going to let me see your sheet, and then I was going to say, "Oh, this isn't right," or whatever, and you could have given me the excuse of, "Oh, I must have made a mistake somewhere," or something like that. I would have accepted the excuse, even though I was probably thinking you were lying. But she goes, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about." And I said, "Okay, everybody else, give your opinion on this," and everybody said the same thing, that they've been catching her cheating the entire time. And I said, "Well, I don't think we're going to have you with the group anymore." And I was scared for doing this because she's also the manager of my apartment complex. If she had it in her mind to, she could have had me kicked out. But she didn't. And I never asked her to another game. And by the way, we're on talking terms. We're friendly to each other outside of D&D. I don't even bring up D&D to her anymore. But I got in the game, and I got her out of the game. She left her player sheet, and then we all looked over at the player sheet. It wasn't just the money she was fudging. She was also fudging her AC. Her AC was completely off to what it should be. She had items that she shouldn't have had, and these were items that was supposed to be on the wish list, kind of thing. But the wish list was I hadn't even confirmed whether or not she had those items or not, but yet there they are in her on her player sheet. And her what do you call it? Her feats and skills were all off the chart. So yeah, she made like a mega character with numbers that were just completely made up, and she had gold that she should have been spending, but was just keeping it and just taking things. And what really got me to throw her out the game, though, was she yelled at my wife, my ex-wife, but my wife at the time, and yelled at her about something that pertained to that player sheet, because she was asking, "Why are you being so defensive about this?" And she yelled something at her, and I just went like, "Okay, get the fuck out." Excuse my language, but that was what that was. I said, because I was saying, "I'm kicking you out of the game," but that was like that. At that point, I wanted to get the fuck out of my apartment. So yeah, but yeah, it was that was just a. I'm even shaking just talking about that because that riled me up so bad when she did that. Just yelled at her for just asking a simple question. like, why are you having an issue with this? And we're not having an issue with it. And she just said whatever she said. I don't remember what she said. Wow, I've been on for 2 hours and 45 minutes. There's one in every group. Oh, no telling. I also had the one. This was one of the. This was before I had the more current group. Before the whole. I had a group going before we had the pandemic crap, and I haven't been able to get a group back since. But before the pandemic, I had a group going, and that's what the campaign stuff is, because that was all homebrew stuff that I did. All the stuff before that, I used Forgotten Realms, and the setting fourth edition was using. I forgot what the name of that one was. I don't even think they acknowledge that one anymore. But Nentervale, I think it was. But it was that one, and then Forgotten Realms when we were playing fifth edition. Uh, but then I started trying doing my homebrew stuff, and the homebrew stuff I think I only did for about maybe 2018, 2 3 years. Yeah. Although we tried to get back together one time, but then it ended up everybody had hours at different times. There's this great video you guys should check out. And this guy, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it was a news clip on YouTube where this guy is playing the longest campaign ever. And I mean by that as in he started back when D&D first started, and they're still playing the same game all these years later. And it's, and basically what it is like he's been going generational with the characters. And so it's like it's like now the grandkids and the great grandkids are now playing that same setting and that same game. The characters have changed, but the game's still going. And I think, yeah, there's a news report on it, and I can't think of the title of it, but you guys should check it out. It's pretty neat. I'm going like, where was this when we were kids? Playing the same campaign all these years. And the best part of it is his wife's even involved in it. she's even part of it, part of the campaign too. That's how they met. Or I think that's what he said. I think he said, the only way he would go out with her is if he was still playing the game and she joined in, and they would stay together. And she joined in and started loving the game. But yeah, I'm going. That's the wildest thing I've ever heard of. I'm going like, that is so cool. I wish I was having a game like that. But back to what I was getting at, though. A friend of mine. This was another incident that happened. I had a game where the majority of it was women, and there was like one or two guys playing in the game. The majority of, and I know how people are there. Women don't play Dungeons and Dragons, blah blah blah. There has been at least two women in every game I've played. At least two. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly on that particular story, he said that he actually has different groups, but they're interacting with each other at the same time, kind of like the competition ones. So yeah, it's he goes it's different groups, but it's all part of the same game. And but yeah, this one guy, I can't think of his name right now, but I don't particularly care for sexism in my role playing games. I don't particularly care for it. I don't like it when people start throwing those cards around, and it's not be and I have no qualms about people's opinions about things. But when you start putting into a game where the majority of the people around you are women, and you're saying stuff like he was saying, I'm going to say the lightest thing he said, because at one point they're all trying to fight this one particular creature. I think it was think it was, what was it that they were fighting? Well, it was one at level 3, it was one of the bigger monsters you can fight, and, it'd be a pretty good challenge, it would be a pretty good challenge, but still beatable kind of situation. Well, the thing was is all the girls involved were rolling low numbers. They weren't hitting at all. And he pops off with, "Ladies, stand aside. Let a man do this." And said it in that exact tone. "Let a man do this thing." And I'm like, I just went, I said, "You're playing a paladin. I didn't know your paladin was going to be Gaston." As that's not how you described him. So yeah, and that was the last session of that because pretty much he wanted to continue, but all the women were so uncomfortable with how he was acting that game that none of them wanted to come back after that. And I think that was when that particular group just completely fell apart. Then when I started working at a pawn shop, a lot of the people that were working at the pawn shop wanted to play D&D because they found out I played Dungeons and Dragons. So they go, "Well, can you teach us?" I said, "Sure, no problem." And I think it was like a birthday gift for one of the guys in there. He never played Dungeons and Dragons, but always wanted to. So for his birthday, that's what we ended up playing. And I put the game together and set everything up for everybody, and it went from there. Um, I'm going to talk about one more thing before I get going, and that is when I play D&D. Does it? I haven't played since second edition. I haven't played since fifth edition really got started. Um, I think it was just still in its infancy when I started playing it, and the only reason I stopped playing was because I couldn't get a group together. So I don't know if you guys implement this or not, but I implement something called a packet, and I don't even know where I got the idea. I probably heard someone talk about it on YouTube at some point. What the packet is basically you have your player sheets in it. Which, by the way, when I make copies of my player sheets, and I make them in 2 pages, so that way you can lay them down and have them both sides facing you. Because a lot of people that put them on both sides, I don't do that. I make 2 separate pages because a lot of my players they'll look at the sheet, but then they forget to flip it around when they need the information from the back. So I make a packet where it has 2 sheets, and it's in the folder. They can see it. And then I would have at the time, because Dollar Tree was like right down the street from me. I'd buy reams of notebook paper or notebooks, little notebooks, just to get them started, right? Especially the newer players because they don't know. I get them started with a notebook so they could take notes and whatnot, and you know, uh, basically journal stuff for themselves for their characters. So they could get started with that. And graph paper, if they wanted to make graph paper to figure out the maps I'm making for them. Because at the time, I wasn't using miniatures. Nowadays, I do. I mean, I got a stack of them in those blue little tackle boxes right there. But so yeah, and I would also provide if they were brand new to D&D, I would provide them with their first set of dice as a courtesy. I didn't mind doing that. I usually got them like a cheap little bag set, you could buy at a game store somewhere. I didn't go for like oh my god, you bought that. Not those kind of dice, just a cheap little bag of dice, and usually a bag with it. And I said, if you want your own, get some more dice or your own set, whatever, this is where you can go. I would also provide for the miniatures of their characters, which thanks to the internet, we would actually sit down together. We'd figure out what character they could, what figurine they would want to play as, and I keep it, but because I'm the one that bought it. Sometimes they would buy it, and if they bought it, I'd have it delivered here. I say, here it is. This is yours. I would give it to them, and then they kept a hold of it. And I say, but it's your responsibility to bring it to every game. And if it's on the map at that particular time, like when we actually started using maps and stuff on the tables, I would say if it's out on the map during a battle, and we call it a session that day, it stays right there. It's not going anywhere. And usually they would agree with that. But yeah, I would keep packets. I would start them with a packet, which was 2 character sheets. Well, it's actually one. Well, I call them figurines, but they're miniatures. I just said figurines because I couldn't remember miniatures for some reason. But yeah, they're just your miniatures over here, and I would let them pick out their I almost said figurine again, miniatures. I meant to say miniatures. So I'd let them pick out their miniatures off of the internet. If they had the money, they bought it themselves, and it would be delivered here, and or they'd pay me back later for it. Same thing with other, like if they wanted to play a particular character, but I didn't have the book, but I knew the character existed, I would order the book, but I would keep the book for myself, but they would pay a percentage of it, and I would, that kind of thing. Like I said, I only started with this last campaign with the miniatures, and I will say it makes it a lot easier for battles for me. I played fourth edition without miniatures. Miniatures are kind of a requirement for that version, for that edition, and I did not know that. And of course, at that time, they were kind of when I started fourth edition, they were already starting to weed out fourth edition in place for fifth edition. So, but I didn't know fifth edition was coming yet. So when that happened, a lot of the stuff that I could have got for fourth edition, I didn't. With fifth edition, it's an all right version. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's a damn sight better than fourth. I wish I could do third or maybe even AD&D second edition or something like that. But getting a hold of that stuff is getting harder and harder as the days go by. Um, so, but yeah, I was buying them as they were coming out, but then as soon as it got to the point where I didn't have a group anymore, I stopped buying. So I might be behind on everything, but I'm trying to think here. But what I initially do when it comes to my own, even with homebrew, I will start with like one of the starter adventures, like one of these guys right here. Hey, even Rick and Morty I might use, and do that. Um, you might notice I have the Dungeons and Dragons Clue, which I believe is the fifth edition version of it. Fifth edition version of it. That's kind of cool. Uh, but I think it was like how in a lot of the video games they have like the side quest kind of thing. Hell, even when Forgotten Realms suddenly goes into Hillsfar before jumping into Curse of the Azure Bonds, they have like a mini segment. Um, so what I did was when we got past the first major story arc for the campaign we were doing, I brought in Clue, and we instead of using the characters in that, I had them use their own characters, and solve the mystery that way. And they said that was so unusual that all of a sudden they're playing Clue, but they're still playing Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, I've done that where it's like I'll take like a regular board game and just throw it in. That one just made it easier because it was already Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. At one time, at some point, I don't have a stove right now, but eventually I will have a stove and an oven in this house. I plan on cooking from these books right here. I got two of them. I got Heroes Feast and I got Flavors of the Multiverse. Flavors of the Multiverse, I believe, just came out earlier this year or late last year. And I want to cook from them because I've seen a lot of food in here that looks fantastic. And then once I have a stove and an oven in the house that actually works properly, I'll probably make some videos of that too. I hope you guys like to watch people eat. And with that, I'm probably going to call it a night on this talking shop. And thank you everybody for showing up and actually talking with me instead of making me feel like I'm all alone and probably in an empty room with crickets. Where am I going to find the heart of a red dragon? Through their stomach. Boozway, did you just get here? I've actually been on for 3 hours, and yeah, I'm kind of tired at this point. Minotaur meat. I don't think it's described like that, but they just they use actual food products from the reality. They just name it various Dungeons and Dragons y stuff. They even have recipes for ales and other drinks. I think they have the health potion and stamina potion. About 20 minutes in. Well, um, I can give you a rough idea of what I did all the way up to this point. I talked about the game list I planned for the next month. What happened yesterday to my computer? Um, various games I've played JRPG wise. Um, we talked about the Wizardry games for a little while. Also talked about Forgotten Realms books, plus other books such as Moorcock and Dune and Game of Thrones for a little bit. And then we just talked about me with D&D tabletop experiences for a little while, which has been like the last 45 minutes. But I will, since there was a nice turnout here, would you guys like me to do this again, say in a week or two? I'll put up a notice again. If I do it next week, it might be a little late because I do have a busy schedule next week concerning stuff concerning my dad on Friday, so I might be a little late. Other than that, it might if not next Friday, then definitely the following Friday, and I'll post a video and yeah, I talked about this, that, and other stuff. I might do a live stream tomorrow on my Twitch channel, which is CRPG D and D Night, and it's the word "and," not the symbol. You can also find the link in a lot of my videos. It's also on the abouts of my channel. You might find it in there. So, and it's 4th of July Thursday, so people might be a little out of it next week. So I might just push it to the following Saturday. But tomorrow night I will be doing a live stream on Twitch. I don't know what I'll be playing yet, but yeah, it's CRPG D and D Night. It's one word, and it's the word. It's not night as in the person, but night as in the evening. Here, let me. But yeah, that'll be on Twitch tomorrow. I might be running a little late for that too because I'm gonna be out and about most of the day. So, and I can't seem to find a writable. Oh, there we go. Here we go. And I'll just write it on a paper plate. Just find that on Twitch. But I also have links on most of my videos, so you can also find it that way. I also have a Facebook page and a Instagram page. That's the first time and probably the only time I'm ever going to mention that, because I Ask JP. I've made it a habit of not going on my videos and saying, "Don't forget to subscribe." And like my videos. I've never asked that, and I'm never going to. I didn't even ask it now. I just was using it as an example. Because I believe you people have a brain of your own. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it. If you're not going to. I have no influence over you. In the meantime, you guys take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video or next stream. Oh, I am getting the note paper right after I get off here, and I'm going back up there, and I'm going to put it all down, put it on down to paper. He gave me a lot. JP gave me a lot of hints at the beginning of the stream for Wizardry 6. It's one of the games I've been playing. I might even do that as the stream tomorrow. But I do have other games I might play on there, but that might be one of them. In the meantime, you guys take care. Please join me on my streams on Twitch. I do them at random times. I'll try to put a video up to let you know earlier, like the day earlier that day, to let you know what time I might be doing it. I'll try to remember to do that. And I'll also put a post in community. I always put a post in community when I'm going to do something. So you guys take care, and I'll see you guys in the next stream or video. Bye-bye.